sweet poster, man. I'm freaking stoked that I bought that. Okay, I am finally back here in the shop, getting settled in. These past few weeks have been crazy. So if you didn't know, last week I went up to the Rocky Mountain Leather Trade Show / World Leather debut in Sheridan, Wyoming. But since we've got home, we've had some bad storms, plumbing issues, sickness, so it's just been crazy. So kind of getting back into the groove of things has been steady but very slow. But I wanted to make this video, and I want to start things off with this video by just giving a genuine thank you to you guys. So when I was up in Sheridan, there was honestly way more people than I anticipated that recognized me from these videos, come up, say hi, shake my hand, and then just have genuine conversations with you guys, which is kind of crazy. It blows my mind. Like, I make these videos and I put myself out there and I communicate with you guys through the comments, email, messages, but to be able to meet you face to face and shake your hand and talk to you, it's kind of crazy. The internet's a crazy thing, but it allows us to connect and to build this leather crafting community. And so it's just really, really cool. And some of you guys were really pushing me to get out of my comfort zone, and I love that, and I really appreciate that, because it may seem like I'm a very talkative person and maybe extroverted because I make these videos and I talk a lot on these videos, but I am a shy person. And so some of you probably noticed that when we were there. I was kind of spaced out. Being in a place like that with a lot of people was overwhelming for me. And so thank you guys for some of you that were pushing me to go meet other people and to talk to different people and to do different things. It helps me, and hopefully some of the things that I do can help you as well, because it's really cool to be able to connect with you guys and grow this community. So I just wanted to give a genuine, from the heart, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It's not for certain yet, but I am making plans to possibly go down to the Waco show in August. So if any of you guys are going to be down there, then again, don't be afraid. Come up, say hi, shake my hand, let's have a conversation, and let's just continue to build this community. And if you ever do get a chance to go up to Sheridan, I would highly recommend it. It's beautiful up there. Even with some of the storms that were coming in, it was beautiful up there. I love that place. And so it's a great place to go and network and take classes and invest in yourself. And so I did invest quite a bit in myself up there, not only with the people that I met and the friends that I made, but also with some new goodies. I came home with a lot more tools, and I'm super excited to use them. I tested them out when I was there at the show before buying them, but since I've been home, I have not had a chance to really play with anything. So I'm going to do a little haul, show you what I came home with. And some of these tools are going to be the first time that I've used them since the show. And so I'm excited to get to it. And I'm just going to give you a little rundown of the Sheridan trip and what I came home with. And I hope you enjoy. I appreciate you guys. So to start off the trip, I linked up with some buddies in Oklahoma City. We loaded down this minivan and headed north. And we hit some legit back roads in Kansas, but we finally made our way up to Nebraska, where we stayed at a buddy's house and actually picked him up to go the rest of the way. But this was kind of our stopping point for the day, and it was really beautiful until these crazy storms came in. And as you can see in this video, this giant windstorm kind of came out of nowhere and actually knocked the power out. So we were without power for the majority of the evening. So we decided to bust out these old school oil lamps and just sit around and chop it up. We actually filmed an 1.5 hour long podcast, but due to some technical difficulties, it did not save. But that's just how it goes sometimes. And like 5-10 minutes into our trip the next day, we got pulled over for speeding. Luckily, we got away with a warning on that one. And then we finally made our way into Wyoming. And we stopped off in Casey to see the Chris Ledoux statue. And from this point on, I honestly didn't get a lot of content. I was kind of focused on just being in the moment. But we did make our way to the King's reception on Thursday. And I got to go through the King's Museum, which is where I met a lot of you guys and got to speak with you and see all of this old school artwork, which is it's super humbling to see all of this and to see pretty much the beginnings of where what we create today came from. It's super, super cool. Here is a really neat piece of artwork that I believe Al Stolman created. And then we finally made our way to the actual trade show. And again, I didn't get much content there. Here is just kind of some shenanigans of me and my new buddies at our Airbnb and our extracurricular activities that were going on. But then we did actually make it to the World Leather debut, which is where you see all of the competition pieces that were entered from all across the world. And there is some just crazy out of this world artwork that people are able to craft and come up with. Like this ship, there was a few other materials outside of leather that were used on this, but it is primarily constructed of leather, which blows my mind. And so there's just some really, really talented people out there, and the World Leather Debut is a great place for them to showcase their skills. And it's really, really cool to go through and see everybody's different perspective of art and leather crafting, and just kind of how everybody puts their own twist into things. It's really, really cool and very humbling to see all of these other various styles of artwork and different perceptions of the craft. And here is a saddle that was made by Denny Lowe. I thought that was really cool to see in person. All of the saddles were really cool. I don't know anything about saddle work at this point in my career, so I'm very ignorant when it comes to actually dissecting one, but it is super cool to actually look at them. And like I said, I don't know much about them, but I know I can respect the artwork 100% on all of them. So it was really cool to actually go through and put eyes on some of these saddles that you see on the internet, but to see any type of leatherwork in person just really helps bring it into perspective and give you a lot more respect for it. So it's hard to put into words like what this does, just seeing it on video. It's kind of one of those things where you just kind of have to be there to really take in the full experience. But yeah, that's about all there is to it. Sorry I didn't get more content, but I hope you are enjoying this little presentation of the trip. On the last day that I was in Sheridan, I got to make my way up to the Brenton and have lunch and walk through the museum, and you'll see a little clip of that here in a second. There's some really sweet artwork from Jim Jackson and other artists in there. But yeah, that's about it as far as the trip itself goes. Here in a minute, I'll give you a breakdown of all my tools and materials that I came home with. And so I hope you enjoy it. So before we get into all of that, one thing you might notice is this. I got me a new work table. So while I was out of town, my wife and my cousin actually decided to surprise me with an early Father's Day gift. And they built me this new work table, and I am super stoked about this. I've been wanting a new table like this for a while, so I'm really excited to start setting it up how I want and really get it put to use. While I was visiting my friends' shops, I was like, man, I really need to start putting more effort into my shop and decorating and all that. And so my wife not only surprised me with a table, she actually painted this wall for me. And so we got a really good start to what we're working on. I'm going to start decorating this place up and really give it those Western leather shop vibes. And if you're wondering why she painted the wall that color blue, that's because that's the color of my business cards. So they're color matched to that. I really like that color. And so yeah, super sweet, man. Now let's start diving into all of this fun stuff. So this right here was the very first tool that I purchased while I was out there, and I just couldn't help myself. Most of you will notice this logo in this holster. This is my new Leather Wranglers swivel knife, and I am very, very excited about this because I sat down at their booth and diced up some leather, and I fell in love with this thing. I didn't necessarily need a new swivel knife. There's nothing wrong with my Berry King, but there's a lot of you guys that use Leather Wranglers and have recommended them to me. And so, especially after I sat down and tried it out, I just went in Rome. I couldn't help myself. I had to buy it. You'll notice that the yoke on this is a little bit different than my Berry King. I do really like that. It feels very comfortable. I did go ahead and stick with the 1/2-inch barrel and 1/4-inch blade. I love that setup, and it feels the most comfortable for me. This blade is a little bit different as well. It's not, I don't know exactly what it's made out of or all of the specifics, but I know that it's not a thin blade compared to my other Berry King that I've been using for the past few years. However, I do think you can special order those. Don't quote me on that, but you might reach out to them if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, it's really, really cool. Here is Leather Wrangler's information. They were super nice, very helpful. And yeah, this is, like I said, I didn't really necessarily need it, but it's so smooth and it feels so comfortable. I love it, man. It's sweet. And I actually did go ahead and visit Barry King's booth and bought a new blade for my barrel and yoke, so the swivel knife itself. I just replaced the blade. This is a 1/8 inch thin straight blade, and this is going to be kind of for more fine detail work. I'm just so used to this, and I'm used to the weight of it. That's one thing I forgot to mention with this. The Leather Wrangler's knife is very, very light. It's super light compared to this, but I am very used to the weight of my Barry King knife. I don't want to just completely put it to the side and not use it, so I went ahead and got this smaller blade for it. I'm going to use it for kind of more of those finer cuts, finer detail cuts. Same thing, very smooth. All of these cuts feel really, really good. So yeah, I did go ahead and replace that. And I'm excited to get these bad boys put to use. The second thing I purchased was this book, How to Establish Prices for the Saddle Maker or Leather Worker by Mr. Brenner, Bob Brenner. So I first heard about this book when Don Gonzalez had him on the podcast quite a while back, and I kind of just forgot about it, but I saw Mr. Brenner there set up with his booth, and I saw this book on the table, and I had to purchase it. I feel like this could be very beneficial. I flipped through it, and it seemed like it had a lot of good information in here. I haven't dove too deep into it yet, but I'm hoping that I can pick up some new ideas to hopefully implement in my pricing structure going forward to help grow my business. And so if I get a chance after I go through this, I may do a review over it one day, but yeah, excited to dive off into that and hopefully learn something. Next in line are these beaver tails. Now, I have not personally worked with beaver tails before, but I do have a buddy that has used them and gave some really cool ideas on what to do. These are actually vegetable tanned beaver tails, so I believe I can oil and dye these and kind of finish them out how I would like. I do have these two small beaver tails, and then I bought this one large one. They look really, really sweet, and they seem really tough, so I'm excited to put these to use. I honestly have no idea what I'm going to use them for quite yet, but I think maybe some inlay pieces. I don't know. We're just going to see. I actually picked these up from Hagel Tools, and here is all of their information. I actually bought a stamping tool from them that I'll show you here in a little bit as well. But I do believe they carry these pretty much all the time or often. So go give them a shout. Check them out. They got some really cool stuff. Since I got this leather all cased up, I will go ahead and run you through all of my new stamping tools that I came home with. I believe I have 9 new tools from various makers, and I'm super excited about them. So let's run through them really quick. First off, let me show you these. I'm really excited about these. I finally got my hands on some Robert Beard tools. And what these are some bevelers And I was looking for kind of a smooth beveler because some of my old craft tools, they just don't give me the results that I want. And it's hard to tell on the face of this, but this is actually, I think they called it a scuff beveler. So it leaves a smooth look when you're walking it, but that little bit of scuff is supposed to help burnish the leather a lot more. And when you antique your projects, will help that antique show up a lot more than just a normal smooth beveler. And so I am super excited about these. They look really, really cool. We go. Let's just try them out for you guys really quick. Here's the basic impression. So that is very comfortable and very easy to walk, and that did leave a really good burnish on that leather. This is still a little bit really wet. Honestly, I just wet it down, so keep that in mind as well. But yeah, this is a number 2, which is the little bit bigger size, and this is the number 1. Oh, and here is all of their information. And then I also got this little tool from Hagel, just who I mentioned a second ago, and it's unmarked, but it says it's a Macmillan. And that is that impression. So I don't really know the size or anything like that, but there's a little bit lighter strike of it. And then I also got this bad boy right here. This is a Wayne Juski Geo stamp, and it is the number 147. I do have some other Juski stamps, but I've never bought any of these big Geos, but I see a lot of people use them, and I love the way they look. And I know his stamps leave such crisp impressions, so I wanted to get this and try this out. And so hopefully we can put it to use. I honestly don't really know how to use these either. This is my first time. But there is that impression. I could be wrong. It was really crooked. That's how you're supposed to set it up. Not 100% certain. I'm not 100% certain. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I'm sure some of you guys out there run these and have a little bit more experience than I do. But yeah, that is super cool. So like I said, with the swivel knife, I did make a trip over to Barry King's booth, and I ended up purchasing these tools right here. We will start off with this one. This is a vertical lined thumbprint, and it's a lot smaller than the other tools that I have. I'll have to double check on the size, and I'll put it on the screen somewhere, but there's the most basic impression of that. And if my camera will focus, I actually did go ahead and use this tool already also on this little spur strap, kind of shading around where that vine works coming out from under that flower and around the center of the flower. So I already got some great results with that. And I'll also go ahead and show you my new grounders because I use them on that as well. I've been really wanting to get some smaller bar grounders for some smaller intricate type work, and I kind of shopped around and I just couldn't find anything that I absolutely fell in love with. But then I came across these Barry Kings, and they were giving me the impressions and the size that I liked the most, but I will say they are super tiny. So a lot of you guys know I run size 40s typically. My camera won't focus on these. But these are Barry King's size 25s, and the 5 7, and 9 seed. And I did use them on this spur strap as well. And I'm not gonna lie, they are gonna take some time to get used to running because they are super, super tiny and intricate. But I do like that look a lot, and that's kind of a look I'm gonna try to start implementing in my work a lot more. And so that's where we got with that. And then I also got me a new flower center. I already have this one in a bigger size, but this is probably my favorite flower center out of every single one I got or have tried. Probably could have hit that better. This is that oval with, I don't know exactly, I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seed oval, but it's a little bit smaller. That is, leather's drying out, I think. Oh my goodness, sorry I'm not hitting it right. Anyways, that's what we got there. And those are the new tools I came home with. What? Okay. This next tool is one that I have wanted to upgrade to for quite a while now. I have always heard great things about Ron's tools. I just have not ever had the chance to try any out in person until I was there at their booth at the show. And pretty much all of the hand tools that I use, like my edgers, my groovers, my stitching awls, all that type of stuff, are all still the most basic beginner tools that you can get your hands on. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with them, but there are higher quality options out there that make the job a little bit easier and more enjoyable and are made to last. And so I went ahead and invested in this Ron's edger. This is a number 3 round edger, and this is what I am going to use for my belts. Belts are what I primarily make more than anything else. And I shopped around, tried a lot of different other styles and brands out. They just didn't quite feel as good as this one. This one is very well constructed, it looks nice, and it cuts like butter. So I'm gonna get a piece of leather and show you, but this is a super, super nice tool that I'm excited to get to use. That is some really tight grain, and it cut through that super easy. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have no clue what I'm going to use this for, but once again, I just couldn't pass it up. This is the first time I've ever actually worked with alligator, or bought an alligator hide. I've never worked with it, but they were selling these hides for, these smaller hides for 150 bucks, and like I said, I just couldn't help myself. I think there was a lot of us out there that kind of fell into that. And there were a lot of people that bought these as well. They also had a lot of different colors, but they also had the crusts where they were just kind of like white color, and you could dye them and finish them however you want. But I got this tannish saddle looking color. Which I really like. I think it looks super cool. But like I said, I have no clue what I'm going to use this for just yet. I got a lot of leather around here that's like that. But I know I will find good use for this one day. And super, super stoked about it. I think it looks so cool. There's a couple spots right here that aren't necessarily ideal, but we can work around that. Yeah, 150 bucks, dude. Most of you guys know that my knife game is pretty weak. I usually just used an X-Acto blade or this little rotary blade. And so I have been needing to step up my knife game. I just never really look into it too much. But I was introduced to Mr. Sean Woodsum with Crosswinds Forge. out of Arizona, and he was super nice and very helpful, and showed me his knives, let me test them out, and I actually did go ahead and pick up this kickback, is what he calls it. It kind of almost looks odd shaped, but I naturally want to just hold it like this, like I hold my X-Acto blade, and I think that's what this is going to substitute out now, as kind of my finesse knife, because it's very comfortable like this, and this thing is super sharp. So it is really cool. I'm super glad I got it. Let me get some leather really quick and I'll cut it up for you. Here's some Herman Oak 9-10 ounce full grain veg tin. And then here is some 3/4 ounce Herman Oak. I'm just barely pushing down on this too. It's easy to kind of finesse. Super sweet, man. I love it. All right, you guys, that's going to be a wrap for this one. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed it, then please leave a like on the video. And if you're not already subscribed, consider tapping that button somewhere over here in this corner and subscribe to the channel. It's free, and it's going to keep you up to date with any of the content I post going forward. And while you're at it, you might as well check out one of these two videos over here. It's going to be all for now. Until next time, we'll see you.